And instead of inspiring a progress, you end up shaping a culture of blame. Yikes. If you're in a leadership role already, don't dismiss complaints, but redirect them. You can say, that's a valid challenge. What do you think could be a way forward? That's a question to ask. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Soul Career Podcast. I'm Felecia Williams, and I'll be your host today. Now, I'm very, very excited about having this conversation. Um, Let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed that some people just always seem to be complaining about something? Be honest with yourself. Have you ever been that person? We've all been there, that's the truth. Complaining feels really natural in the moment, but here's what is also true. If you're aiming for leadership or you're already in a leadership role, constant complaining can quietly be holding you back. Yes. So we have to be so aware of ourselves, right? Here is why. Complaining signals negativity, it shows resistance to change, and it focuses on the problem instead of the solution. And sometimes we think we're being brutally honest, and we are saying, hey, these are all the issues, but truly, what others are seeing is that you are someone who's always putting up a barrier, who's always complaining, who's always pushing back. And leaders or aspiring leaders get judged based on those things, whether they realize it or not. So think about it. If you're the one always pointing out what's wrong, people start seeing you as a blocker, not a builder. You lose credibility with your peers, with your superiors. And instead of inspiring a progress, you end up shaping a culture of blame. Yikes. So I remember being in a workplace situation once where this leader was always complaining, right? And it really does set the tone for the entire team, for their entire team. Meetings felt heavier, and instead of tackling challenges, people just circle around the negativity. It slowed everything down. And honestly, external to the team, other people also noticed and didn't want to deal with that team because they were always negative. Now, here's the good news. There's good news. There's good news. You can flip that script. So if you find yourself in that situation, you can flip the switch. The opposite of complaining is curiosity. I love curiosity. It changes the energy. And I learned this very, very early in my corporate life as well. It is important to be curious. Curiosity changes the energy. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You can shift that to, what can I learn from this? Or what options do we have? So let's be clear. Curiosity doesn't mean ignoring the problems. It means reframing those problems into ways that shows adaptability, it shows openness, and forward-looking thinking. These are the exact qualities that people are looking for in a leader, in a very strong leader. So, how do you actually do this curiosity thing in real life? So, here is a tool. Here are a few tools that you can try. One is pause, pause and reframe. So, the next time you catch yourself saying the project deadline is unrealistic, try flipping it to, What resources or adjustment could help us meet this deadline? Lead with questions. Remember, I said curiosity? Curiosity is asking questions, right? Instead of shutting down the conversation, ask something that opens it up. What are we missing here? Or who else might have insights here? These questions shift the focus from being stuck to moving forward. The other tool is to coach yourself. When you feel the urge to vent, ask, pause, and ask yourself, okay, what is in my control? What can I control? That one simple shift takes you from feeling powerless to being proactive. And finally, one last tool, model it for others. If you're in a leadership role already, don't dismiss complaints, but redirect them. You can say, that's a valid challenge. What do you think could be a way forward? That's a question to ask. This not only solves problems, but it empowers your team to think like leaders too. So here's a takeaway from this little talk. Complaining may feel like leadership in the moment. You are pointing out problems, right? But it's actually the opposite. True leaders shift from complaints to curiosity. So here's your challenge for this week. Catch yourself the next time you're about to complain. Pause, ask one curious question instead. Notice how it changes the tone of the conversation and maybe even how people start to see you. So because at the end of the day, curiosity doesn't just move things forward, it moves you forward as a leader. And hey, if you're tempted to complain about the weather, the traffic, the coffee machine being empty again, try swapping it for a curious question. Who knows? You might discover a new carpooling buddy, a podcast to brighten your commute, or even someone in the office who secretly makes the best coffee. Curiosity really does open doors. That's it for now. I hope to see you in our next episode. Bye.